Yo, what is cracking, everyone? This is your man, Politic the King with Politic the King TV. If you are subscribed or if you are new, please like, comment, subscribe, check your notification bells, make sure that you get all the notifications. So we're going to jump right into this video, guys. I am talking about Colby Covington and LeBron James and the words that he had to say about LeBron James after his UFC fight. I forgot who he was fighting. I think it was Tyrone Woodley. And he had some remarks to say. I would play those remarks, but I don't want to get strikes, so I'm going to just pretty much sum them up here. But pretty much what he had said was he started off congratulating the police. And actually before that, because that's the clip that we see, he says that, he's going to speak for the silent majority. And he said, if you thought this was a beating against his opponent, that when Trump beat Sleepy Joe Biden in the election, that's really going to be a beating. And then he goes off to thank the military and the police for their service. And he said, and they protect the country. And then he goes on to say that not these woke athletes and these spineless cowards like LeBron James. And then he goes into talking trash, I think, to somebody else and stuff like that. So you probably seen the clip. If not, I'll probably have the links below in the description. But it was sort of disrespectful. It just seemed like it came out of nowhere. And I can understand somebody being political, right? Being political and disagreeing with how people disagree with each other. I mean, I have disagreements with people in different situations, but it just seemed like it came out of nowhere. And it also looked like he was reading off of a card. If you watch his eyes during that interview, he looks down and he looks up, and then he looks down and then he looks up, and it looks like he was reading off of a card. So it seemed like it was sort of like planned. And maybe he just wanted to make sure that he got his point across as far as all of these things are concerned. Yeah, LeBron James. Where this starts, the origin of all this, LeBron James did not play the playoff game, I think, against the Milwaukee Bucks because Jacob Blake, who got shot 7 times, that was on his mind supposedly, and he talked with his teammates, and teammates talked with the Bucks, and I think they didn't play that playoff game. So I think some people were upset about it and stuff like that. And honestly, in this country, and this is not meant to be racy at all, white people love their sports, okay? When you go to the Braves game, when you go to the Falcons game, when you go any sports events, it's mostly white people. And maybe white people are just the majority in this country or whatever else it is like that as far as population is concerned. But they love their sports. So when you can't see a playoff game, people tend to get pissed about it. For me, I don't watch sports as much. I sort of let sports go more recently in the past couple of years, but people get really pissed off about that stuff. So I think that's what he was referencing when he called LeBron James a spineless coward for convincing not only his teammates but the other team not to play the game. And I think there's some things that we have to sort of unpack with this. So before I get into that conversation of his comments towards LeBron James and the back and forth, I really want to talk about Colby Covington and who he is and what type of person he is. So from what I've saw, I looked him up on Wikipedia, and you can look him up or whatever, but I mean, he's educated. He was a wrestler, I guess, in high school. He was very successful at it. He was successful in college. And then after college, he got a degree in sociology. And then he started a UFC career. Any interview I've seen with him, I actually watched the interview with Candace Owens, and I'll talk about that in a bit, but he was very soft-spoken. He seemed very nice, a very nice and well-spoken person, and, he just seemed very humble and grounded. That's the one thing I saw. That's why it's so sort of weird that I understand when you're a fighter, you have to rage, and you have adrenaline that's pumping and everything else like that, but the thing is that from him going from that to this, it just sort of seems out of his character, out of his nature. And I know he's been saying a lot of political stuff, and maybe he supports Trump and everything else like that. And that's fine. I don't really care, who you support or who you don't support. I mean, I do, but I don't. But it's just like, you have the right to do that. But him going from this soft-spoken, humble person to him going to this raging dude, and it just seems a little crazy. The one thing I did find out was that Colby Covington, he was fighting this Brazilian guy or something, and I think it was in Brazil or whatever. And but before that, they told him that he was boring and that they were going to cut him from the UFC and all of this stuff. And then he started saying some very outlandish things against his opponent and opponent's fans or whatever. And they signed him up. So I think he wants to keep going with that train in order for him to be successful, that he has to be outlandish in order to be successful. So, anyway, guys, so he's very soft-spoken. I want to talk about the interview he did with Candace Owens. It'll probably be in the link in the description below. I watched that interview and I sort of skipped through it. I skipped through it a little bit, but I watched some of the main points and I listened for like 2 or 3 minutes here and there. And man, I mean, the person I was disturbed the most with was Candace Owens. Oh my gosh, that's a video that's going to happen within itself, just talking about Candace Owens and what type of person she is and her belief system and all of that. But he was very soft-spoken, and one of the things that I looked at, and I'll just go through some of these quotes real quick, which I'm not gonna really get into. I actually took down a lot of Candace Owens quotes, so I'm gonna just go through it. So let's get on Candace Owens real quick, or whatever. But he was very soft-spoken in the interview, and a lot of the things that Candace Owens was saying, it seemed like she was projecting on him. He didn't really have necessarily an opinion about it. Like he said things on how he felt, but he didn't really directly bash anybody. Which Candace Owens seems like she was bashing people left and right. But this is some of the things that I want to say, and this is the funny thing about Candace Owens, is that she says things, but then I don't think she really thinks about what she's saying in context on how she acts. It says it's never about an endorsement; it's about freedom. Candace Owens says that. So what she was talking about is the people having the freedom to say what they want to say. Like we have freedom in this country. Like if you're a liberal, I'm not a liberal, just to let you know, but if you're a liberal, you have the right to be liberal, and I agree with that. Or if you're a conservative, you have the right to be conservative. She says it's not about endorsement, it's about freedom, and that's exactly correct on both sides. So why get so upset about somebody else speaking their mind when you're speaking your mind? And she also said this. She was talking about athletes being political, and she said it's a trend. It's a trend that these athletes don't really care about black people or the struggle or the things that they've been through, but it's a trend. And I mean, unfortunately, Colby seemed like he was agreeing with some of this stuff. And she said, as far as people not standing for the anthem, she said, you're a coward. You're a coward for not standing for the anthem because of the military and because people have fought and died and moved through whoop, and you're a coward if you don't stand for the anthem, which is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. There are veterans that have said, I fought so you can have the freedom to be able to kneel for the anthem or not stand for the anthem. Just because you live in this country doesn't mean that you like everything that this country has done. I'm not saying that it's totally bad. I love living here. I'm an American. I'm proud to be an American to an extent. But, it doesn't mean that I have to endorse the country and everything that it does. And, there are people in the military that stand for the flag, but the flag represents the nation as a whole, not just the military. So it's ridiculous for her to say, if you don't stand for the anthem, you're a coward. There are times that I never put my hand on my chest. I might stand for the anthem, or I might stay sitting down. And that was before Kaepernick and everything else. Just because my own personal beliefs of the things that have happened in this country have sort of left me in between. And I love America, don't get me wrong. And then she was talking about T.I. I guess they had a convention she was at or whatever, and she was talking there, and she said she was the only conservative there. Seemed like she was a little bitter about that because they really probably got onto her. And she said this about T.I. She was like, he said, when has America been great? And she says, when they let a bum rapper like you make millions. Like T.I. didn't have to record music and hustle and get a recording contract and then continue to be successful and continue to make music and continue to make deals. Like just really disrespectful. And that's why people don't like Candace Owens. That's why I don't like Candace Owens. I am fairly conservative, guys. I'm probably like 85 to 90% conservative. But the reason why I'm not conservative is because people like Candace Owens and other people, Republicans and conservatives, that speak out all ridiculous like this. Because they don't really have any balance. And it really just seems like it comes from a deep-rooted hate inside of themselves I'll talk about that a later day. Anyway, and then she said the most spoiled, rotten people that ever lived. And I think she was talking about black people, that black people are the most spoiled, rotten people that ever lived. Or she was just talking about Americans in general who don't like the country or don't like things that are going on with the country. And that's just, it's just disrespectful. So it seemed like Colby was agreeing with most of this stuff. He didn't really speak on it, but he was agreeing with most of this stuff. So Candace Owens is just ridiculous, guys. Like, I don't listen to Candace Owens at all. Like, I might agree with some of the things that she says, but I don't listen to her because it doesn't seem like she has any love for black people in her heart. It doesn't seem like she has any care for black people in her heart. And it doesn't seem like she has any tact to think with any type of tact as far as how to speak to black people. You're black. Your people went through the same things that my people went through and other people are going through. And you might disagree with some of the things that are going on, but you don't have any right to disrespect people. You don't have any right to question people's beliefs. As far as you just said, it's not about endorsement, it's about freedom. Right? We have the freedom to disagree. We have the freedom to agree. We have the freedom to have different opinions and to speak our minds. We should talk to people, even on the opposite side, with respect because they are still people and they are still citizens. And those military people who fought the right to have the right to be able to do the things that we do in this country died for that right for the people that you disagree with. So it's just so ridiculous. It just seems like a personal thing with her. And I'll talk about that in a later video. Anyway, so I watched the, the interview, and you might want to watch it as well. But this is what Colby Covington had to say. He said, never give up on what you believe in. He said you should stand up for what you believe in. And you should have your own free thought in this world. This is what Colby Covington said. And this is the ridiculous thing. Like, when I listen to this and then I watch what he said, it's like he's not thinking about the things that he said. And that's what I'm saying about conservative Republicans that are just extreme. Like, you're not thinking about, you're saying you stand up for freedom, but then you disagree when somebody else stands up for freedom. And even though you disagree with them, you have to respect them. You should respect them. You should respect them. And this is the thing with Colby Covington. He said, never give up on what you believe in. You should have your own free thought and stand up for what you believe in. So isn't that what LeBron James did? Then he says to himself, you know what, I'm not comfortable with working tonight, or I'm not comfortable with playing tonight because I have so much going on and I want to bring attention to this issue. Whether you agree with them or disagree with them or not, there's an issue with this country with police violence and black people or whatever. Now, whether it's the police fault or black people's fault or whatever it is, or whether there needs to be education on both sides, it's a problem. And that's why there's protests, and that's why there are people doing stuff. Now, I don't disagree with everything that people do as far as protest. I haven't gone out there and protested. I haven't gone out there and burned buildings and done all that crazy stuff and all that. And I think there's a group that tries to hijack black issues and black problems and stuff like that. But you have to respect it because that's what America was built off of. Anyway, so going back to the main issue is that, after hearing these things, Colby Covington said that LeBron James is valid. Never give up on what you believe in. You should have your own free thought in this world and stand up for what you believe in. But yet he calls LeBron James out for doing exactly that thing. And that's very hypocritical. It's very hypocritical. And I'm gonna get into another point. And the point is that Colby Covington, when he speaks like an underdog. He says, I have to work hard for everything that I've gotten, and it wasn't easy, and whoop-de-whoop-whoop. Then he criticized in an interview that athletes, they get these $1 million deals, and they don't have to work hard, and whoop-de-whoop-whoop. And I sort of agree. There's differences between MMA and NBA, right? Like, they do start off with more money, but they did have to work hard through high school and through college to get to the point where they did get the contract because they weren't getting paid before. With MMA, even at the lower levels, you get paid after your fight, whether you win or lose, because you have injuries and you have to go to doctors and stuff. I know MMA people who have fought and they have to pay for all their own medical bills because insurance does not cover that. So they get paid a lot so they can be well. I mean, like Colby Covington, he got his jaw broke or whatever. That probably wasn't cheap to get fixed. He had to pay that money out of his MMA money. So it is a little different. But people still have to work hard. LeBron James, when I looked at LeBron James's story, right? He has a rag to riches story. He's a single parent with his mom. I don't think he knew his father. He played basketball. He played it well. He played sports well, and he became wealthy. And he's very smart. And he came from a bad area. And yeah, he was able to make millions. And this gets into my point, guys. And let me just finish that last point. And Colby Covington sort of had the same thing. I'm gonna just go here real quick to Wikipedia. I think this is it. And let me just pull this up. Let me see here. So he's 5'11", MMA. Let me see here. His father did wrestling. It looks like he had to work hard. He had some DUIs or something like that. And then he made it into the UFC. But, I'm going to just get off of that. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that, Colby Covington talks like, okay, I've been through a lot. I've had to work hard for what I've get. Other people haven't worked as hard as me. But LeBron James probably had to work 10 times as hard to make it through poverty, to make it through single mom, and to have a career in basketball. And he worked very hard to get where he was at. He was very talented. He worked hard. These NBA players work hard. And I guess what I'm getting at is the argument that just because black people have made millions of dollars in this country doesn't make this country great. Okay? Because to be honest, there are billionaires across the world. There are billionaires in Dubai. There's billionaires in India. There's billionaires probably Africa, China, the whole nine. You have to work hard in order to be something great. That's the whole point. You have to work hard to be something great. So it's like, when people make the argument, like for instance, me, I'm a YouTuber, whatever. If I become very successful, what are people going to say? Oh, he's successful. He is successful in America. That means America's great. That is true to an extent, right? But now they want to silence me because I have made it in this country, right? Since I made it in this country, now I can't say nothing, right? Like if I see injustice happening, right? And to somebody who looks like me and I speak out about it, or I go on my YouTube and say, hey guys, I'm not streaming this week in honor of this person that was killed. It doesn't matter if the person's black, white, whatever. But you're saying, since I made millions of dollars and I'm successful, that I'm not going to speak out about injustice that happens in this country. That is just mind-boggling, and that is just crazy. Absolutely crazy. Matter of fact, politicians make hundreds of thousands of dollars, sometimes millions of dollars, and they speak out about injustice in this country. That's the point of politics. That's the point of being a politician. That's the point of having status, is that you should be able to see things from a different point of view. Yes, you've made it. Yes, you're safe. But you should care about the people that are under you. Okay? You should care about the people that look like you. If not, you're just some pompous, fool that just like, oh, I'm better than everybody because I made it, and now I'm not going to speak out about any injustice. I mean, what does the Bible say, man? God wants us to be people that rightly divide good from evil, to have discernment about it, and to speak out. The whole gospel is telling people that they are sinners and they need to repent. You're telling people that just because they're black and successful that they can't speak out about black issues. It's the dumbest thing that I've heard ever. That's probably like one of the dumbest arguments ever. If I'm successful and I make millions of dollars in this country, I'm going to be thankful that I made millions of dollars in this country. But it wasn't just the country. It was me. I worked hard to get there. I worked, whatever. You're not going to take away my credit from that. Now, was it the country and its programs and its political system that probably organized this thing? Sure. There has some part to do with it. But as long as I pay my taxes, okay, Uncle Sam gets his, I get mine. You get a little bit of props, I get the most props because I worked hard for it. And that's the same thing with LeBron James and Colby Covington. Okay, they both worked hard to get where they're at, and they deserve props for that. The UFC was a part of it. But it was Kobe wanted to be a fighter. The NBA was a part of it, but it was LeBron James being put in these organizations and wanting to play basketball and having the will to train and sacrifice his time in order to do it. And he came from a bad area, so he should go back and speak out about the things that are happening. I don't understand that, guys. Let me just go back to my notes before I go on a rant. So, so anyway, so these guys are very alike. If they just, I bet if they just sat down and had a cup of coffee, LeBron James and Colby Covington would actually be cool because they're very same. You know, LeBron James is speaking up against black, black lives and police violence and brutality. Colby Covington is standing up for Republican, right wing, conservative politics and how he feels like he's been oppressed. They should both respect the fact that they're both on a political stage and that they're speaking up about things that they feel are right or wrong. That's really the biggest point that I think with both of this. And I think if they took some time to think about it, they would respect each other more. So anyway, guys, I guess I'm going to have to wrap this up with all of this. But, you know, my opinion overall with this situation with Colby Covington and LeBron James and their back and forth is that we are Americans, y'all. We are Americans, and we have to respect each other. I'm not a liberal, okay? I am not a liberal. But do I respect liberals? Yes, I respect liberals. They have the right to speak what they believe in. Do I think they're wrong? Sometimes, yes, I do think they're wrong. But there's some other points that I think they're right. I think that, you know, free education should be a thing, or welfare should be a thing, because it's helped me. It's helped other people. There's a lot of white people on welfare. There's a lot of black people on welfare. Everybody benefits. You know, like there should be welfare. You know, even in the Bible it says what's perfect religion? To take care of orphans and widows. It also says to give to the poor. You know, every 7 years in the Bible, they had like a rest year for the crops, and that was for the poor people. And let alone like if you read the story of Ruth and Naomi, you know, Ruth was a foreigner in a strange land, right? But her mother-in-law was Hebrew. She went back with her mother-in-law, and what did they do when any corn was plucked, you know, or whatever, anything was harvested, anything that fell on the ground was for the poor people. So, you know, there's certain things I do agree with liberal politics, and there's a lot of things I don't, like abortion and gay marriage and different things like that because of my beliefs as a Christian. And then on the conservative side, I believe a lot of they believe in pro-life, and they believe in the family structure and stuff. I agree with a lot of that. But then a lot of this extremist politics I don't agree with. So anyway, we're Americans and we should respect each other. I think LeBron James and Colby Covington just need to meet each other and talk about all of these issues and stuff like that. They may not agree. Instead of just making threats and talking trash to people on your platform or whatever, why don't you have a constructive conversation where you guys can actually get to know each other? I don't think what Colby Covington said was right. I think that a lot of the things he said, just like in that PragerU interview with Candace Owens, it sort of was hypocritical for you to say that people should have free thought, nobody else's opinions matter, but when somebody else expressed their opinion or whatever, you're mad about it. But you're expressing your opinion on how you feel. So why should I listen to you when you won't listen to me? Now, you don't have to agree with what I have to say, but, you know, I don't think the guy's racist or anything else like that. I just think that he just got done from a fight. He just got a call from President Trump. He was probably feeling hype about that, and he just sort of misspoke. And he's a sociology major. You know, sociology is talking about social issues in the world. If you've gone to college for 4 years for sociology and you do not understand sociology, what's wrong with you? What is wrong with you, bro? Okay? There's something wrong there. But to end it, I don't agree with Black Lives Matter. I'm just going to say that. Don't agree with Black Lives Matter, the organization, because, yes, I think what a lot of what Colby was trying to bring light to was that, you know, the organization's sort of off. And, you know, I don't agree with it. Do I agree with the statement Black Lives Matter? Sure. I'm black. My life matters. Do I care about everybody else's life in this country? I sure do. I sure do. When there's injustice for other people, I will also speak up about it. But I am black, okay? And the people that look like me, and I have to live with the fact that my nephew's black, and my kids are going to be black, and my mama's black, and everybody else in my family is black. And those are the people that I love and care about. So, of course, I'm going to care about black things probably more than I'm going to care about other people's problems. But do I care about people equally? Yes, for the most part, yes. We're all human beings. If somebody gets hit by a car and they're white, I'm gonna care about them, call the police, and get the ambulance going, give them CPR. If a black dude does the same thing, or a Mexican guy, I'm gonna do all the same thing because we're all human. But I'm black. That's just what it is. Okay, I'm not one of those people that live in this world where it's just like I don't see color. That's a load of crap, bro. Because when you open your eyes, when you look at me, I'm a black or Puerto Rican male, and that's what you view me as. Now, you don't have to be biased towards me because of that, but that's what I am, and that's what God created me to be. So anyway, guys, yeah, I think Kobe was out of line, and I think LeBron, is taking it in stride, and, I'll talk about a lot more political issues later. My next video is probably going to be on Candace Owens. That video has been a long time coming, okay? Because I am a black male, and yes, Candace Owens is a black female, and she's speaking up on the things that she feels is right, but I think she is wrong in the way that she goes about it a lot of the times, even though a lot of the things that she say are correct. But there's some type of hate in there. She's married to a white dude. There's a lot of things that are just like, I don't know, sister. Like I want to listen to you, but it's just there's something else there. There's just something else there that ain't right. So anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe. I would love to have you here, be a part of the King's Clan on Politics, Politics the King TV. I am out. You guys take it easy. May God bless your gaming. Oh, my bad, not gaming. May God bless you. Bye.